Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our channel at the Veteran Rights Network. I am your host, Benjamin Krause. Today, we're going to be diving into a topic super important. It's crucial, in fact, which is for veterans. How do you get the right type of training to get the best type of job that is the best fit for you? How do you do that from the Department of Veterans Affairs? Well, there's a few options. Everyone knows about the GI Bill, but not as many people know about Veteran Readiness and Employment, exactly what you could do with that program. So today, folks, we're going to be talking about not only that, but I'm going to be talking about a note that we received in our Facebook group from a veteran who is wondering exactly how do you get into VR&E, make it work for you, and get approved to become a physician. How do you do that? Well, we're going to talk about that and more. So if you're in a similar boat, I encourage you to stick around because we're going to be talking about some valuable insights and tips for you and for, this trusty veteran here who would hopefully benefit from what we're about to talk about. Stay tuned. All right, so we're going to get started and talk about this post, talk about what the veteran was worried about. I'm just going to read it out loud, and then we'll go from there. So basically, here's what the veteran writes. Hey, y'all, just stumbled across this group. Know very little about VR&E. I've got 50 credits until I hit my bachelor's, and I have 19 months left on my 9/11. My goal is to get into medical school, and if possible, for VRE to pay for it. Why wouldn't you want that? That's great. I'm 100% if that matters. Also, saw that the Supreme Court ruling a few weeks ago talked about veterans using the 9/11 GI Bill and the Montgomery. So in other words, he's referring to the post 9/11 and the Montgomery. Just looking for some info to point me in the right direction. Thank you in advance. All right. So to this veteran, you're in the right spot. This is the right group. For anyone else watching this on the YouTubes out there, we do have a Facebook group that's awesome. I'm going to have a link in the description below. And also have the website disabledveterans.org. I work on cases like this as an attorney quite often. My law firm you can go to benjaminkrauselaw.com and check us out there too. So we do a lot of these. It's something I'm very familiar with, in relation to the other types of cases we do. I love the med school cases. These are the ones that VRE really seems to get hung up on. But on the other hand, when a veteran does win, man, it's awesome. It's a game changer for them, for their family, future family, whatever they end up, wanting to do. It's a game changer. Plus, it helps us get more veterans in a position of leadership and position of authority in our society, which I think that our society desperately needs. So let's get into it. So basically, we got a veteran here, 50 credits into the bachelor's degree, or 50 credits left. So they must be at about 70. Most bachelor's degrees are about 125 credits. So this veteran must be part of the way through into their third year. So a little bit over halfway. So question is, also they have 19 months left. So here's what my feedback is on this. I would, for this veteran, 100% rated, GI Bill entitlement. That means that the veteran has additional potential, ability to get the higher BAH rate or subsistence rate from VR&E at the GI Bill rate. The reason it matters back in the day is that you couldn't do that, and so the VR&E rate was just usually pretty bad. Now it's equivalent, so that's great, but only if you have GI Bill entitlement remaining. Super important. This veteran has a 9/11 entitlement remaining. Now, a lot of VSOs would tell veterans like this to maybe use up their GI Bill first, then apply to VR&E later. I'm going to say no, don't do it that way. Because first, you want to preserve at least one day of your 9/11. You don't even, in my opinion, really want to risk it because you don't want to accidentally deplete it and then apply. You may have some problems. Trying to get that fixed. A much easier solution, especially if you think that you're entitled anyway to VR&E benefits, meaning you have minimally an employment handicap and potentially a serious employment handicap, especially for a veteran with 100% rating. Definitely, a good case can be made for most veterans with 100% rating, for a serious employment handicap. But it's a source of contention where the VA program or VR&E does frequently make mistakes when they're doing the initial evaluations. But here, I would advise a veteran in this circumstance, if this veteran were my client, I would say, hey, apply for VR&E. See if you get in. Tell them, obviously, you want to be a physician and that you want their support through not only med school, but also getting your undergrad covered as well. Ask also for potential replenishment of your GI Bill if you would have been otherwise deemed eligible for VR&E services, and then you could potentially get that all the way back, even though the veteran applies for benefits here. There have been instances where veterans are able to get a retroactive induction earlier, meaning he could recoup his GI Bill and have VR&E cover the entire training. Now, the entire training, the nuance for anyone who wants to be a physician is not just that the veteran is covered for med school to become a physician, but also to receive VR&E benefits through the entirety of the training, which includes residency training. Residency training, folks. VR&E frequently denies veterans the residency training because they believe that the residency is a form of employment. And while you are technically receiving money and in some instances considered an employee, this is training. It's required. It's on-the-job training. You cannot be a physician in practically any state unless you have some form of residency after medical school. And frequently, they're looking at least 3 years, sometimes longer depending on the specialty. So my advice to a veteran in a similar circumstance as this person would be to definitely consider VR&E benefits right now. Do not wait. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. March right into VR&E. Fill out the VA Form 28-1900. Submit that puppy. Get your claim rolling. If you get denied, well, that's another video, but I would strongly encourage that veteran to definitely apply. If you're 100%, you need the help most likely anyway. You're probably going to at least minimally have an employment handicap in this context. I would say save your GI Bill, go and find out what VR&E is going to do. If VR&E denies you, well, you're in good shape because you have 19 months to fight them and try to win, contesting it in a decision review request, whether that's a formal appeal, whether it's a higher level review, or whether it's a supplemental claim, folks. Either way, depending on what, or any of the three ways, although I would tell most people, don't submit a formal appeal right now because the board is tremendously backlogged and it may take years, maybe well into med school at that point, waiting for the board to get around to your case. So I would say don't do that. Reach out to a VSO you trust, somebody who's really smart about VR&E. Reach out to an attorney like myself. We're all VA accredited. We generally do veteran appeals, decision review requests for a living, and also represent veterans at the courts, depending on what the circumstances. So I would, if you get denied, definitely reach out to your resources. VSOs are free. Many of them don't know a lot about VR&E, but some do. But otherwise, reach out to a VA accredited attorney or somebody else that is accredited who you trust, who can help you fight that fight with VR&E. Because I'll tell you, these benefits are very expensive. And if you're denied, sometimes, med school is easily a $200,000 benefit, if not more, if you're denied. So, if you compare it to what you'd otherwise end up with, if you had to go into student loan debt without the subsistence payment and all the other support, you're easily looking at a $200,000 to $400,000 swing in your financial circumstance if VRE is successful in roadblocking you from that program. So when it comes to veteran readiness and employment benefits, folks, and it comes to circumstances like this, and you can choose, should I use the GI Bill or should I go in for VR&E benefits and see what happens? I would encourage most veterans to take a look at the VR&E option. Don't deplete your GI Bill. Whatever you do, don't deplete your GI Bill without first talking to your veteran readiness and employment counselor in your area after applying. See what happens. If you get denied, reach out to a VA accredited attorney like myself or one of your free VSO options. Try to see what you can get done if you get denied. But definitely do not miss the opportunity to preserve your GI Bill and then use VR&E benefits. In this context, the veteran might be able to get their entire GI Bill benefits back, depending on when they can get triggered for retroactive induction. Maybe. If you're able to do that, also potentially getting that benefit back at 36 months and then using it for something else later. There are some veterans that end up wanting to be lawyers later after becoming physicians, or they want to get some additional training just to do it, like a MPA, Master in Public Administration, or Masters in Public Health, something like that. You could use that GI Bill then, or you could, potentially, depending on circumstance, gift it to your kids or your spouse or whatever you want to do. In this instance, if the veteran's already 100%, well, their spouse qualifies for Chapter 35. Their children, if they have any, Chapter 35 as well, which is a little bit lower as far as the support amount, but not terrible compared to the GI Bill. So anyway, somebody with 100%, you're in really good shape. I would encourage you to definitely look into it. And until next time, definitely tune in here. I'd encourage you to click subscribe if you enjoyed this content. Hit the notification bell so next time we roll out with a benefits tip like this from our newsroom, meaning somebody put a note up in our group and I read it. Or they send me an email, but either way. So definitely check in here, subscribe, and until next time, look forward to you joining in. Look at the links below. You're going to be able to figure out how to reach me from there and also learn about where our Facebook group is. So until next time, have a great remainder of the day, and God bless. Take care. Bye for now.